Good evening. It's another week gone by so quickly. Fortunately, this week kept on track, Monday, Wednesday, and it is Friday. Time to do my Friday Live with Tony. And as I was doing some reading, catching up on some reading, I talked Wednesday about the boost in cognitive fitness. And today, I'm looking at a New Scientist magazine article, Rethinking Fat. Rethinking Fat. And it was interesting, and it got me thinking a lot about the cognitive fitness and some of the thoughts that I have. The startling role of body fat is shaping our everyday health. We think about our memory and cognitive fitness and mental health and how it shapes our lives. So right off the bat, when you think about the big fat truth, and you think about what people think about their memories, it immediately has, wow, these are two major areas in our lives that the science world has flipped upside down over the last, in the memory world, over the last 25 years. In this big fat world, it looks like they're just kind of catching up to it right now. So as I went through this, it was interesting that even fat has an impact on our brains. Okay, so what we talked about, cognitive fitness, our nutrition, and our exercise routines, and where are we going in terms of building our memory like muscle in the brain? And then what does fat do in help of us? And what we've thought of as memory, sometimes we go, wow, I'm worried about my memory, losing my memory, dementia and Alzheimer's. When we think of fat, we think of it as a bad thing. And what this article put out in the New Scientist magazine is suggesting we need to rethink fat, just as we may need to rethink our memory and the way we think of memory, and that there are things you can do about it. Well, there are things you can do about, first, thinking about fat. We regard body fat as an inert, lard-like substance. We carry it everywhere, and we despise it. Far from an inert nuisance, it's an organ, one that is alive and communicative. It has its own memory and is capable of influencing everything from appetite and metabolism to fertility, mood, and immunity. So here again, it mentions the thing about memory. What do we think about memory? Well, it's not malleable. You can't improve it. What do we think about fat? You certainly can make changes to it, and really it's a positive thing. Our memories are positive things. Fat in our bodies are positive things. Fat, as it turns out, isn't one thing. It comes from white, brown, beige, and even pink forms, each with distinct functions and found in different locations. It contains immune cells, nerves, and blood vessels that contribute to its powers. Go back and think about the sessions I've done on the brain and what the elements of our brain, the neurons, the dendrites, the axons, the different chemicals, the importance of nutrients to our body. Fat, we need to have it. We talk about fat on our cells, on Heinemann sheets. You wouldn't get pushback if you claimed it was an organ, in the same way your lungs or liver are organs. Rockefeller Institute, the research is it has a shift in thinking and reshaping our view of body fat and our understanding of obesity. It's challenging how we think about trying to get rid of fat and even prompting scientists to explore how to reprogram it, not just to tackle it, but improve our overall broader health. Sound familiar to the conversations I've had about memory and trying to reprogram how we think about our memory and recognizing we can improve it regardless of our age? There are things that we can do. And so this article goes on and on to talk about the elements of fat and the power of it and the benefits to it in our bodies and how it's in different parts of our bodies and how in the right balance of fat, it helps to protect our organs and protect our immune systems and helps us to improve our memories and how we think and how we create and how we communicate. And who would ever stop and think about fat cells, as we think of them as a bad thing, in a way that they're really a good thing if we only can understand the right nutritional habits. The insights are helping doctors identify which people are at a risk of complications and then tailor treatments for those that have excess fat. The dream is to find a way to restore fat-healthy functions and transform unhealthy into more benign forms. So the research going on, just taking these little things, remind me of all these little things called neurons in our brain, all these little things in our body called fat cells, and what a difference science is doing today. What are they doing today that's challenging and questioning how we think about fat and how we can utilize it in a more productive way? So in other words, as it closes out here, fat is not necessarily a problem. It's an instrument playing out of tune in a misdirected symphony. Interesting way, right? Again, it's a misdirected tune. So the symphony of fat cells in the body may be out of sync, and that there creates a whole series of problems in our whole body systems, including how we think and how we create and how we communicate and how we remember, how we build our memories. Who would think changing fat cells would link to changing how we retain, learn, create? Many of us have often conditioned to try to shrink, remove, or hide our body fat. Many people think of how to hide the fact they don't think they have a good memory. There's people who think they have to dress a certain way or clothe a certain way and try to hide where they may not like to see the bulge or something that shouldn't be there. But the task is to understand it, coax it back into harmony with the rest of the body's immune orchestra system. Because when fat is playing well, it helps the whole body stay in tune, from our immune systems to our thinking systems, which is another way of saying the brain. And it's acknowledged that it's totally unappreciated. What about our memories? So as I said, as I'm reading this, I just saw so many parallels to memory. What do we think of our memories? I think of, we have a bad memory. What does that mean? We can't remember a name. We can't remember something we were supposed to be doing. So Wednesday, I did the session on boosting cognitive fitness. Today, I happened to pick up the November 22nd issue of New Scientist, Rethinking Fat. Wednesday, I pick up the Harvard Health Letter. Resolve to make a change to your brain, not just for your weight or fitness. And who would stop to think that the two may just be connected? I'm just amazed at what we continue to learn about our own bodies and what science. Sometimes we give science a bad name, and sometimes we ask science to do too much. It's an ongoing challenge and battle. It's an ongoing epidemic of people trying to fight off. So what do we think about our body and our looks and fat? What do we think about our brain and our memories, and our ability to lead, create, and communicate? And the science just keeps bringing us together. And as I keep reading this, I just keep saying there's hope for the human race. There is a hope for people to learn how to live better lives, to take control over their own actions, be it nutrition, exercise, their own understanding of their own bodies. And as the science just gets more and more sophisticated, in my opinion, in studying the human body, it just amazes me at the complexity of how all this human frame connects to one another. And that, the hand bone connects to the shin bone, and the ankle bone connects to the shoulder. We're all one, and the science is just continuing to connect all the moving pieces that we call the human body. And we have the Friday before Christmas, so I'm out today doing some shopping, and boy, was there lots of people doing some shopping. So Christmas is upon us in less than a week, and hopefully you're all safe and careful of what you do this weekend and where you're shopping, driving. And we shall see you here on Monday. So have a wonderful weekend.